Hello pilots, and welcome back to another faction breakdown video brought to you by Out of Art Gaming. As always, my name is Phil, and in this episode we're going to be looking at the First Order and all the standard ships that you can actually use in this faction. As always, we're going to look at the stats, general role, notable pilots, and discuss a few pros and cons that we find with each of these ships. Now, if you have any differing opinions to these ships, please feel free to let us know in the comments below. Also let us know in the comments any ships you would like to see from the Republic, Separatist or Resistance faction featured in the video, as they will be coming out very soon. Now, starting us off with the First Order, we are going to be looking at the TIE FO. Once again, a classic Empire First Order style base ship. This is going to be a staple of a lot of your lists, although there are other variants out there that you can use. Now, with the TIE FO, you do get a similar stat line to the regular TIE. You get the 2 red dice attack in the forward arc, 3 evades, 3 hull. Now, this is where it starts to differ. You actually get a shield with the TIE FO. So the First Order have upgraded this ship compared to its Empire counterpart. For actions, you're going to get the focus, evade, barrel roll, and target lock inbuilt. So again, another improvement on your standard TIE fighter here. All in all, a really good ship. With its dial, you get access to the 1 white hard. The 2s across the board for your basic maneuvers are blue. You can go up to 5 straight. You get a 4K and the 2 sloop. So a fairly manoeuvrable ship for you. Now, you don't get any inbuilt ship abilities with this, so it is just your bog standard First Order base ship, really. You'll find its general role is going to be filling out some of those gaps in your list, although some of the pilots do have some really interesting abilities. You can see these working quite well in a swarm. It's not as potent as, say, a TIE Swarm with their abilities that really work with each other. A lot of the abilities are all about what they can do for themselves. Now, there's quite a few pilots you actually get access to. At the time of recording this, you have 12 TIE FO pilots, and we're going to pick out 3 of them, in fact. So the first one we want to have a look at is your I3 Longshot, the Zeta Ace. With their ability, while you perform a primary attack at range 3, roll 1 additional attack dice. So straight off the bat, this is a really good ship, especially if you're shooting at range 3, because not only would you get the advantage of the additional evade dice if you're being shot back at range 3, but that additional dice is going to be incredibly handy. So this ship has 2 really strong places for it to be in range 1 and in range 3. So a nice little addition there, and being I3 middle of the board, it's not too bad. You could use this as a bit of a flanker. The next ship we want to have a look at is Scorch, the I4 Zeta Leader. While you perform a primary attack, if you are not stressed, you may gain 1 stress token to roll 1 additional attack die. So similar in the veins to Longshot in that you can add that extra dice, but this is at any range. However, it does mean at range 1, you are going to be rolling 4 red dice. You do have to take a stress with that, but there are other ships that you can actually combo this up with that can help really well. And to be honest, you have a fairly good dial with blue maneuvers on there, so that's not going to be a huge problem. But Scorch is incredibly potent when you get in range 1 with 4 red dice. If you've got a target lock or a focus, that is going to be incredibly powerful. And the final TIE FO ship we're going to look at is none other than the Omega Leader themselves, Midnight. While you defend or perform a primary attack, if you have a lock on the enemy ship, that ship's dice cannot be modified. This is incredible. This is such a great ship to shut down your opponent with. Especially being I6, it's going to be one of the last ships to move, so it's going to have really good knowledge of what its potential targets are going to be and what is potentially going to shoot it. It could be that you've had a ship flank round Midnight, Midnight has no shot, but that ship has a fully modded shot with focus and target lock. Suddenly you drop a target lock on there and that shot is nullified. Now obviously it can still be really powerful and take you out, but if they can't mod it, well, we know how powerful mods are and how important they are for the game. So Midnight is a fantastic ship. Now there are obviously a wealth of other pilots that you can use there with some really good abilities, but those are three that we really like. Now, pros and cons with this ship. Massive positive side is the fact that you get a shield and a target lock built in with this ship. That is fantastic. Generally these ships are quite cheap, so you can run a fair few of them, or you can use them as really good fillers in the list. Now 2 red dice is going to be one of its biggest downsides, especially if you're coming up against any aces with 3 evades. If they've got evade tokens or focus on there, it's going to be hard to really take them down, but it is a very powerful ship. It's got a good solid dial, and overall this is a good fun ship. And I know it's not really game terms, but a positive as well, that black and white colour scheme looks amazing on the board. If you take anything away from the First Order updating from Empire, it's that black and white colour scheme. It just looks so scary and threatening. We absolutely love it. But that's the TIE FO for you guys. Next up we have another staple of the First Order. It is the TIE SF Special Forces Fighter. This ship has been around since version 1 and is incredible. It just adds so much firepower to your list. It is unbelievable. Now with a crazy stat line, you get 2 red dice out the front. You also get a 2 dice turret attack. You get 2 evades, 3 hull, 3 shields. For actions, you get a focus, evade, target lock and barrel roll, and all of these can be linked to a white rotate. That is just absolutely mental. It's absolutely incredible there. It has an inbuilt ability, heavy weapon turret. You can rotate your turret indicator only to your front or rear arc. You must treat the front arc requirement of your missiles upgrade as the turret. So this does mean you could be shooting missiles out the back. So flying past and taking a missile shot out the back, which is crazy and is going to throw your opponents quite quickly. Now it's got a fairly good dial actually. It has access to all the 1 through 3 speed basic maneuvers, with the 1 hard being red. You get 1 through 3 blue straights, 1 and 2 blue banks. You get the 4 and 5 speed straight maneuvers, and you actually get the red 3 sloop as well, which is going to be quite good for this ship actually, considering how beefy it is in the health department. Having access to that is going to be really handy, and it's the only real way to quickly turn around with this ship. However, with that forward and back potential on your arc, that's not going to be a huge issue there. Now with this, its general role, it's a bit of a tank. It's going to be going in and trying to cause a lot of damage, especially with some of the named pilots on here. They do like to just throw their weight around. An upgrade you're going to most likely see on this ship, pretty much as standard, is going to be the Special Forces Gunner. With this, while you perform a primary forward arc attack, if your turret indicator is in your forward arc, you may roll 1 additional attack die. After you perform a primary forward arc attack, if your turret indicator is in your rear arc, you may perform a bonus primary turret attack. Now this is really powerful, especially if you are flying through multiple opponents. This can be really just incredible really, and that's a great upgrade to have on there, and it's not too expensive either. You won't find that taking that means that there's other things you won't want to take, but it is very good. Now 2 notable pilots that I want to have a look at here. Firstly, we have Captain Phasma. Now, while you defend, after the neutralise result step, another friendly ship at range 0 to 1 must suffer 1 hit or crit damage to cancel 1 matching result. And normally, this doesn't sound very good. Obviously, it's going to keep Captain Phasma alive a bit longer, which is going to be great for her, but making your friendly ships have to suffer damage is not generally an ideal situation. However, with the next pilot we want to have a look at, this is a great combo if you can pull it off. We have the I6 Quick Draw. Very well known within the game. She has probably one of the best abilities of any ship in the game, I think. After you lose a shield, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, you may perform a bonus primary attack. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible, especially as I said, when you pair her up with Phasma. Quick Draw has taken her attack, scored some good hits, stripped some tokens. Phasma gets shot, passes a damage over to Quick Draw loses a shield, Quick Draw gets another shot. So it's a way for you to trigger that double tap with Quick Draw. Now, it's worth bearing in mind, if you do have the Special Forces gunner and you have the arc in the rear and you have taken that bonus primary attack there, you cannot take a second bonus primary attack, so you can't get 3 attacks, but still, this is a way of triggering that second attack on Quick Draw, and that really can be the difference between a ship surviving and a ship going down, especially if that turret is in the front with Special Forces gunner. They could be taking 2, 3 dice or potentially 4 dice range 1 attacks in quick succession. Big pros and cons with this ship. Special Forces gunner on this makes it an absolute must. The fact that it's got that white rotate as well is going to be incredibly powerful, especially with the pilots you tend to take with this are normally I4 and above. So you'll know pretty much whether to rotate that arc, and because you're not getting stressed for it, it is absolutely fantastic. Also, allowing you to actually fire missiles out the back with certain ships is going to be great as well. Getting a cheeky flyby and then suddenly you're taking those shots back. Absolutely incredible. Now, 2 evades on a small base ship is going to feel tough. I'm not gonna lie. These things, although they've got a lot of health, if they're focused down, can go down quite quickly, but generally you're gonna find them getting in there with support normally and just stripping tokens and causing damage. So this is a fantastic ship and we love seeing them on the board. Now our next ship just screams aggression. It's your TIE Interceptor on steroids. It's the TIE VN Silencer. Made famous in The Last Jedi. This is an incredible ship. Whether you've got the version 1.1, which was completely oversized, looked ridiculous, but we loved it, that's why we had to get 2 of them, or if you've got the new version 2.1, which is a bit more within scale, this ship is deadly. Now, for a stat line, again, it's an Interceptor on steroids. It has 3 red dice, 3 evades, 4 hull, 2 shields. You get focus, you get target lock, you get barrel roll, and you get boost. It also has the inbuilt ability auto thrusters. After you perform an action, you may perform a red boost or barrel roll action. Fantastic, so maneuverable. It's just incredible. It's got a similar dial to the TIE FO. So you get the 1 hards, which are white, all of the 2 basic maneuvers, which are blue, the 3, 4, 5 straights are blue, you get the 4K turn, and you get the 3 talon rolls. So a very fast maneuverable ship. Now, you can change auto thrusters on here with the config card. and in some cases it's not actually that bad. You get the sensitive controls. So replace your auto thruster ship ability with the following. Sensitive controls. During the system phase you may perform a red barrel roll or red boost action. Now, with one of the pilots which we'll discuss in a moment, that can actually be really handy. Be aware though, if you are running multiple silencers, that is a standardised card, so you will need to have it on all of your silencers. Now, as a general role for this ship, it's an Interceptor, it's an ace, it's hard hitting, it's got the health and the evades to take a punch, it's got the red dice to throw its weight around, so this ship you're going to be looking at flanking your opponents and causing some serious damage to them. In certain situations you can even joust with this ship, but again, probably best not to, but if you can get right in there, flank your opponents, you are going to be causing them to have a very bad day. Now, there's two pilots I want to have a look at, and there's one that we're going to skip over for now because with Kylo Ren, I don't feel that you take Kylo Ren for his ship ability, you take him for being an I-5 with the Force, but we're going to skip over him, we'll look at him in his other ship. First pilot I want to have a look at is actually the Initiative 2 Rush. Now, his ability, while you are damaged, treat your initiative as 6. This sounds like an odd ability, but I really like this. And you'll normally find that Rush is a little bit cheaper, where he's Initiative 2 normally, so he's a little bit more affordable to use, but the fact that once he actually becomes damaged, he just gets better and becomes an Initiative 6, almost encapsulates that ace mentality of you've scratched my paintwork and now I'm angry. So I really like Rush as a pilot. He's not everyone's first choice being an I2, but I think it's quite an interesting one there. My out-and-out favourite pilot though with the TIE Silencer is actually Blackout. His ability, while you perform an attack, if the attack is obstructed by an obstacle, the defender rolls 2 fewer defence dice. Now this works really well with the sensitive controls and trick shot combination, because you can get right up to an obstacle, take your shot through. With trick shot you're going to get an additional dice, and they are going to lose dice. So it is absolutely brilliant. And then in the system phase you can do that red barrel roll to get out from that obstacle. So sensitive controls was something that really helped with Blackout, and I think he's a really strong pilot. Now, pros and cons with this ship. As I said, this is basically your TIE Interceptor on steroids. You get those 2 shields, which is normally where Interceptors fall down, as they're going to go down quite quickly, but 6 health on this ship is fantastic. Now, you do have to be a bit careful. It's easy to get overly cocky with this ship and find it goes down quite quickly, but all in all it's a really good package. I think probably one of the bigger downsides is that they're not the cheapest ship in the game, but you get what you pay for and they are absolutely solid. Now, if you're finding the TIE Silent series too much health in your Interceptor, our next ship is going to be quite ideal for you. We have the TIE BA Interceptor, the bright red TIE Interceptor. This ship looks amazing, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw it I was like, I have to have this ship, it's so cool. Obviously first introduced in the Resistance TV show, flown by Major Von Reg himself. This is a really cool looking ship. Typical Interceptor stat lines, you get 3 red dice, 3 evades, 2 hull and 2 shields. You get a really good action bar with this, with focus, evade, target lock, barrel roll and the boost action. You also get an inbuilt ship ability, fine-tune thrusters. After you fully execute a manoeuvre, if you are not depleted or strained, you may gain 1 deplete or strain token to perform a target lock or barrel roll action. Now that's a bit of an interesting one, with having to take a deplete or a strain to get either of those, so you do have to really look at which one you're going to be taking there as to which one is going to be the least worst option. However, you're not taking a stress token, so it does leave your dial open for the next turn, so that is going to be quite handy in itself. Now, for a dial, it has an interesting dial. Very standard with your Interceptors, it has a lot of blues on here. It has the 1 hard and bank, which are blue. The 2, 3 and 4 straights and the 2 banks are blue. It has all the other basic manoeuvres are white. It has a 5k turn and it has a 2 sloop. So this ship, although it can go fast, quite likes doing those smaller, sharper manoeuvres. So really like changing up the standard Interceptor sort of mechanic there that you would normally expect. Now, as a general role, you're going to use this like a standard Interceptor, like a standard ace. You're going to want to flank round your opponents to be causing as much damage as possible, picking them off from the edges. You're not going to want to joust with this. Although it's got the 3 evades, it can go down quite quickly, especially if you're wanting to use that fine-tuned controls and you've got the deplete or strain. You're either going to find your punch isn't as hard as it could be, or you're rolling 1 less evade dice. So if you are going to be using fine-tuned thrusters, you're going to want to try and pick your moments for that. Now, I think with this ship, the only pilot you're really going to talk about on here is Major Von Reg, the Red Baron himself. During the system phase, you may choose 1 enemy ship in your bullseye. That ship gains 1 deplete or strain token of your choice. Now, I like this ability because where it's in the system phase, your opponent's already dialed in their manoeuvre. So if you're giving them a red token and they haven't done a blue manoeuvre, that token is going to stay around for the next turn. If they've done a blue manoeuvre, it disappears, that's fine, but the potential to make them have 1 less attack dice or 1 less evade dice is always going to be quite good and quite handy. So keeping an opponent in your bullseye, which you're going to want to do with an Interceptor, is always going to be great. Now, another good fun thing about Von Reg, at the time of recording, obviously these things change, he has access to some really good upgrades. He can actually have 2 talents and 2 modifications, so you can really tool Von Reg out quite heavily there. So it's going to be an interesting ship to look at. Now, pros and cons with this ship, I think massive positives. It's got a really interesting dial and it likes to do those really fast hard turns. So 1 hard turn that is blue is incredible. That is just absolutely insane. You get right in with your opponent and you can stick with them so well in there. Then you add that, the barrel roll or boost action, it's incredible. I really like that. 3 attack, 3 evades, it's strong. You're looking at an I6, I5, I4, and even your base pilot is an I3, so you don't have any really low down pilots in that, so really good solid build. Negatives, fine-tuned thrusters is an interesting one to try and play with. You've really got to pick your moment with it. It can come back to bite you quite hard, but if you can get it right, it's going to be really powerful. As if the First Order didn't have enough Interceptor types as it is, we now have the TIE Whisper, the modified Interceptor. Now this, again, another scary looking ship, really cool in the game. It's going to take a while to go through its whole stat line here because it's just incredible. So you get 3 red dice in the bullseye, you get 2 red dice as a turret, you get 2 evades, 3 hull, 2 shields. As standard on the card with actions, you get focus to white rotate, evade, target lock, barrel roll to white rotate, boost to white rotate. When you add on the config card, which I don't see why you wouldn't be, enhanced jamming suite, you also get focus to jam, barrel roll to jam, boost to jam, and the jam action. All of these being white. probably the best action bar in the entire game. Nothing links to a red action. It's crazy. Enhanced jamming suite. While you jam, you can choose yourself or another friendly ship. While you defend, if the attacker has no green tokens or there is a jam ship in the attack arc, you may roll 1 additional defense die. So it's really good at helping you to defend there using that jam, and again you can link that from another white action, so it's incredible. Now, you do get the inbuilt ability Heavy Weapon Turret. This is exactly the same as you get on the TIE SF, so you can rotate your turret indicator only to your front or rear arc. You must treat the front arc requirement of your equipped missile upgrades as your turret indicator. So again, shooting missiles out the back, always good fun, always unexpected. Now, for the dial, it's not a bad dial actually. Again, you get the 1 hard, which is white. You get all the hard maneuvers. The 2 through 5 blues are straight blues. The 2 and 3 banks are blue. You get the 4 and 5 red K-turn and the 3 sloop, which is red. So again, a really good action bar. Another interesting take on the Interceptor there. It's an interesting ship because of those different attack arcs. It can either hit really hard or not as hard. You're going to tend to fly this again, wanting to fly it around the flanks a lot. Again, standard Interceptor style. You don't want to joust with this ship. You want to be trying to maneuver around the flanks. Using this one to jam tokens off your opponent is always going to be really handy as well. So in a way, it does have that support mechanic for your squadron. Now, notable pilots. We brushed over him a little bit earlier, but we've got to look at him now. The Supreme Leader of the First Order himself, Kylo Ren. Now, he has a much better ability in this ship than he does in the Silencer. This is an ability you're actually likely to use. Before an enemy ship in your bullseye is dealt a face-down damage card, you may spend 1 force. If you do, that damage card is dealt face-up instead. This is very powerful, especially when you look at adding other abilities on there to help increase that. You could be adding Malice on there, you could be trying to get through lots of crits. This is incredibly powerful. You get 3 force with Kylo Ren as well. I think that that is brilliant. Now, another ship we want to have a quick look at is Wrath, the Herald of Destruction. After you perform a bullseye attack, if you have 1 or more non-lock red or orange tokens, jam is an orange token, you may perform a bonus attack against a different target. Double tapping with an Interceptor. What more can you say? That is, again, another really good ability. Both Wrath and Kylo Ren are Initiative 5 as well, and with the action bar that they have, it's likely that you're going to be able to try and line those bullseyes up really easily. Now, pros and cons with this ship. I think overall it's a solid ship. It's got a good amount of health, and it has just an incredible action bar that can do so many things. Its dial is solid, so you can get around the board quite quickly. You're not really going to be stressing yourself out unless you need to do those turnaround maneuvers, but you can get rid of those quite quickly. Downsides, I feel, is that if you are not able to line up that bullseye, it can feel really tough only rolling 2 dice when you have such a dangerous looking Interceptor on the board. And 2 evades is, again, in an Interceptor, not ideal. But with that action bar, you should be able to mitigate that and do some serious damage with this ship. Now, for the last small base ship that we're going to talk about for the First Order, we have the TIE SE Bomber. The First Order's answer to your classic TIE Bomber. They've basically taken the wings off, turned it the other way around, and stuck some shields on there. That's pretty much it. Obviously, I'm only joking, they've done more first order things to it, as you can imagine. Not only does this ship look incredibly cool on the board, but you get a stat line with 2 red dice, 2 evades, 4 hull, 2 shields. For actions, you get the focus target lock, barrel roll to red target lock, red boost, the white reload to red evade. You also get the Pursuit Thrusters ability. During the system phase, you may perform a boost action. Now that's incredible for a bomber. So many crazy things you can do, because you can drop a device and boost in whichever order you want. So if you decide that you want to do that boost to get a better bomb drop, you definitely can. We've seen that used to great effect in Season 2 of Flight Academy, and we'll come on to that pilot as well, because we think he's probably one of the best on there. Now, for a dial, you're going to get all the basic manoeuvres except for the 5 straight. You have access to the 1 red hard. Your blues are the 1 through 3 straight, but you do also get the 3 sloop on there. So more ways to stress yourself out and not a huge amount of blues to get rid of it, but all in all, not bad at all for a bomber. Now, again, general roles. It's a bomber, it's a missile boat, it's gonna have, you're gonna have lots of bombs on it, or you're gonna use it for lots of missiles or torpedoes. They're generally the things you're gonna be sticking on here. It's not going to be your really quick ace. It's got a fair amount of health on there that it can tank a few shots. The 2 shields, instead of having 6 hull like the bomber for the Empire, is a bonus actually, I feel, as you get a bit of crit protection there. But generally you're going to be wanting to use this to pump out lots of munitions into your opponent. Now, we briefly mentioned him earlier, but a notable pilot on here is actually your I2 Grudge. Now, he has the ability, while a friendly bomb or mine at range 0 to 2 detonates, each time attack dice are rolled to resolve its effect, you may reroll up to 1 of those dice. So if they've blanked out on one of them, that's it, you're forcing them to reroll that dice. It's an incredible ability. Obviously not always going to work out for you, but it can be the difference between a ship going down or a ship surviving on 1 health. So that is absolutely fantastic. Now, something that we think is actually really fun to add to this ship as well is the Prime Thrusters ability if you have the points within the loadout. While you have 2 or fewer stress tokens, you can perform barrel roll and boost actions even while stressed. So you can actually do the Pursuit Thrusters after doing the 3 sloop if you've got Prime Thrusters. So really good to note that one down. Now, pros for this ship. Obviously, like your bomber, it's got a lot of health, but having those 2 shields is going to be incredibly handy. And I think Pursuit Thrusters, instead of the nimble bomber that the Empire bomber gets, it's a different flavour, but I like it. Allowing you to reposition before you drop a bomb is going to be incredibly advantageous. It allows you so much more scope to where your devices are going to end up, or even just setting you up a little bit sooner for that great missile shot into your opponent. So really good there. Again, downside, you don't get a lot of blue manoeuvres on this ship. If you do find yourself stressed, you're going to have to do a straight manoeuvre, which can make you a little bit predictable. So that is going to be something that is really tough for a bomber, especially when the rest of your first order forces tend to be flying around quite quickly. You might feel that you're getting a little bit stuck behind, but all in all, and again, another fantastic ship. And if what I've told you hasn't sold you, just have a look at the ship. It looks so cool, so deadly. We love it. Now, for the final ship that you get as standard in the First Order, we have the G-Class Light Shuttle. not often seen on the board, but when it is, it can be a massive advantage for you. Now, with a stat line of 2 attack, 2 evade, 5 hull and 2 shields, it's definitely able to tank a few shots. You get the white focus, red target lock, red coordinate and the white jam action. Now, its dial, as you'd expect from a medium base ship and a light shuttle, it's not the best. You do get the red stop though, which can be quite handy. You get access to the 1 and 2 blue straights and banks, 2 hard white, 3 hard red, the 3 and 4 white straight and the 3 white bank. No turnaround maneuvers with the G class, which is always going to be really tough. Again, similar to the bomber, in the same sense that most of your first order ships are really nimble and are able to turn around quite quickly. Not having access to any turnaround moves is going to be quite tricky. Now, general role for the ship is going to be a support ship. You've got the coordinate on there, you've got the jam. The ships themselves have some interesting abilities that are definitely all about supporting your squadron. This isn't in there to be the big gun, it's not in there to take all those shots, it's in there to really help your squad and get the most out of them where possible. Now, the notable pilot we want to have a look at is Gideon Hask, the merciless hardliner. Now, while you or a friendly small ship at range 0 to 2 performs a primary attack against a damaged defender, if the attacker rolled 2 or fewer attack dice, it may gain 1 strain token to roll 1 additional attack die. This is a really powerful ability, especially if you've got a number of ships focusing down on your opponent. You just need that 1 or 2 really extra punchy shots just to push through that. Getting a strain on your TIE FO or TIE Silencer to get that through is not great, but if you can take a ship off the board, it is worth the sacrifice in your evade dice there. Gideon Hask is I4 as well, so it can actually work on him, and he can actually get a 3 dice attack or even a 4 dice attack at range 1 as well. So it is an interesting ability, and I really like it, especially when it comes to supporting your other ships and just giving them some incredible shots. I mean, for instance, if you look at, say, your Blackout with trick shot through an obstacle, adding an additional dice there, that's a lot of shots. That's quite handy there, to be honest. Now, pros and cons of this ship, again, it's a great support ship for your squadron. It has those good support abilities in coordinate, jamming tokens off your opponent. The named pilots are generally there to provide you with additional tricks and tools, so very strong in that sense. Downsides, once the ship gets out of position, there's not really much it's going to be able to do. It's going to take a long time for it to turn around. It's only got the 2 white hard, so even then, once it's out of position, you're probably going to find that that's it out for the rest of the game. 2 evades as well, it can go down quite quickly. It doesn't have the access to the evade tokens, so that is going to be quite tricky there. But anyway guys, that is all of the standard ships for the First Order. We hope you enjoyed the video. For those of you that don't play First Order or don't come up against them very often, I hope this gives you a little bit of insight into what you can expect on there. Now, if you feel that we may have missed out a pilot on there, drop a comment down below. Let us know who we missed out and why that is an absolute travesty and we should never do that again, and always include them. We're always interested to hear your opinions on what you like, or if you think that we've made a mistake, let us know. It's always good to hear. But guys, thank you very much for watching the video. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time for our next faction breakdown.